Kambultan. OSA, welcome to Finfinnee. Welcome back home. Baganagan Uftan. Thank you so much for giving me this chance. Dear OSA members, ladies and gentlemen of the board chairman, OSA president, participant of the conference. I'm extremely pleased to make this opening speech at this special occasion in the modern history of Oromo. After long and bitter struggle for liberty, equality, freedom, justice, and peace, the Oromo people in general, scholars in particular, have now become triumphant. In this regard, I would like to congratulate OSA to hold its conference here at home for the first time in its shining history of 33 years. At this historical moment, I would like to express my appreciation to the member of Oromo Studies Association, OSA, and its supporters for tenacious effort to advance the knowledge and the research on Oromo people and in the last 3 decades. I believe that OSA's struggle for the advancement of knowledge and the study on Oromo people in its entire history has come peculiar features. On the one hand, it's an academic endeavor. On the other hand, it's a political engagement. And sometimes it's a mixture of two, if there is such a thing. OSA's success in academic arena is obvious. Research articles and reviews on Oromo history, language, culture, politics, environment, and the knowledge system are produced and disseminated widely through its well-known publication, Journal of Oromo Studies. Given the output of annual conference, OSA is more or less fruitful. We fully understand the challenge of engaging in scholarly activity within political circumstances like that of Ethiopia until recently. The reason why OSA founders and their successors make their bases abroad is clear. In all these years, OSA needs to struggle the political atmosphere in which scholars of Oromo studies live and work out. In this regard too, I think OSA and its friends are victorious. As a continuation of this academic and political journey, we are glad to witness the launching of OSA 33rd annual conference in Finfinnee, Oromia. Coming to the major focus of this year conference, I find state is to be an overarching theme. The fact that sub-themes revolve around state and governance, state and economy, state and justice, state and development, state and institution, and state and indigenous system show how all contemporary burning issues are strongly related to the state. Dear OSA member, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to raise few points on sub-themes of this conference. My talk will focus on indigenous system, which particularly reference to much discussed but researchable topic. Like any Oromo person, I am interested in the precious contribution of Oromo people to itself, to the rest of Ethiopian peoples, and to the world at large. These days, not only the seasoned scholars of the Oromo studies, but also who know the Oromo people recognize what this precious contribution is Gada. Much is said and written about Gada. In this regard, though unintentionally, Gada is widely considered as a system and a way of life. There is no mistake in studying Gada as a democratic system or a way of life. But what does but what was Gada before it eventually became a system or a way of life? It is a philosophy. Gada attempts to address fundamental questions of political philosophy. Problems in political philosophy such as what is power, who should rule the society, why, how should the governor rule the governed, for how long, what is the role of individuals and the group in society. Gada is a philosophical deliberation, has already given answers to questions. Gada also inquired into basic issue of ethics. What is good in society? What is evil? What is safu? Gada has answers for these questions of moral philosophy. Long before Gada developed into socio-political system, it raised basic metaphysical questions, such as how does this earthly world come into being? What is the meaning of the universe and the terrestrial bodies of like stars? Epistemology has never been out of the focus of Gada. What's knowledge? How can knowledge be acquired? For what purpose does society acquire knowledge? Gada as a philosophical deliberation delve into this debate and provide answers. Gada has also an internal reasoning in its system of thought. Therefore, Gada knows logic. The underlying principle of Gada as a democratic system are based on logic. The age-based division of socio-political and socio-economic role in Oromo society rests on strong logical ground. Gada is also historical philosophy. Its understanding of the passage of time is cyclical. The cycle is separated by 8 years, 40 years, 80 years, and so on. Gada promotes oral poetry. Thus, Gada is not strange for beauty and aesthetics. Dear OSA members, ladies and gentlemen, today, as far as Gada is concerned in a modern world, most of us are left with only the cultural legacy of this Oromo brainchild. Our forefathers created Gada as a philosophy, as a system, as a way of life to address fundamental and structural challenges. In this regard, they were victorious. What about us in this modern world? Are we raising this fundamental question beyond societal system and the way of life as scholars? Oromo scholars under OSA have so far done a lot to solve such conceptual and practical problems. Yet, we are all far behind the challenges we encounter now. In order to tackle the problem we faced, Oromo scholars may need to revisit their approach, especially in taking lessons from our forefathers in their experience of Gada. Needless to say, our forefathers became victorious because for their rigorous philosophical work, the system, and the way of life of Gada. Not to forget the valuable contribution of OSA for the Oromo society. There are some issues that need consideration. The knowledge production is elitist, and its dissemination is highly Western-oriented. In this regard, it is totally neglected the mass people. This delimitation of sociology of knowledge needs an urgent solution. This year's conference is historical. It is historical mainly because it heralded the new era in the role of Oromo scholars in state building. The government understands the key role of scholars and intellectuals will play in solving national problems. The scholars also now come to understand the need to work with government for the sake of our common cause, the development and the prosperity of the Oromo people. In order to make the victory of Oromo people and the rest of Ethiopian peoples sustainable, our Oromo scholars have responsibility in their respective profession, especially in problem-solving knowledge production and knowledge dissemination. Furthermore, at this critical period, Oromia government would like to invite Oromo and the friends of Oromo scholars who live in Ethiopia and abroad to play historical role in the recent launching of national service in Oromia. The National Service will build Oromia and prepare a generation that will conquer all adversities. Scholars specially organized under OSA are expected to make national service successful, focusing on its very constituency, namely bracing Oromummaa, diligence, competence, purity, and cooperation. Dear OSA members, OSA President, OSA Board Chairman, participants, as I stated previously, we are glad to observe that state takes a central stage in this year conference. I hope the paper and the scholarly discussion will be fruitful. I wish you to have successful conference. With this, I now declare this year conference officially open. I thank you. Galatoma.